Hey everyone, Mike Brick here with InsideRealEstatePhotography.com, and in this video we're going to go over some tips and suggestions on what to do with your photos after they're edited. Alright guys, so this video is going to pertain mostly to people who outsource their editing, but there's definitely going to be helpful tips in here for people who edit their own photos as well. You may just do some of these things during the editing process instead of after the fact, but if you're someone who outsources your editing, you send your folder out to get edited by an editor, and then they send you a folder back with your finished images. And what I want to talk about in this video is what to do with those images once you receive them back from your editor. A lot of the things we're going to discuss in this video fall under the umbrella of the level of service you provide. I talk a lot about on this channel providing an above and beyond level of service, and a lot of these things are going to have to do with that. Some of these things may seem like small little details, but if you're someone that cares about client satisfaction and client retention, then I think they can go a long way. It also helps set yourself apart from your competitors because some of your competition may not be bothering with some of these things. They may even be just getting a folder back from their editors and sending it right out to their clients, not doing anything. So what I mean by client retention is that maybe your client decides to try one of your competitors and they're not doing these things for them. Then all of a sudden, guess what? They realize the value that you were providing for them and they come back to you. All right, so now let's take a look at a folder that I got back from my editor recently, and I'll show you some of the steps that I'm talking about. Before we continue on with this video, I just want to share a quick word about our sponsor, Pixelmob. Are you looking for a professional real estate photo editor to help lighten your workload? Are you having a hard time finding a good and reliable editor, or don't even know where to look for one? Or maybe you just personally struggle with editing and can't seem to achieve the professional end result that you've been looking for? If any of this sounds like you should definitely check out Pixelmob. Pixelmob helps take the guesswork out of finding a reputable editor and connects you with the right people to do the job. Pixelmob is an awesome website that links you up with available editors capable of doing just about any sort of real estate photo editing you can imagine, including HDR blending, flambient, virtual staging, object removal, etc. The best part of all is that Pixelmob vets all the editors prior to allowing them onto their platform to ensure that they can indeed deliver on what they say they can. I also really like that there's a peer review system where photographers can rate the editors from 1 to 5 stars, giving you further tools and helping you choose the best editor to work with for your particular job. The editor also does not get paid until you are satisfied with your order. If you've ever been in the search for an editor and tried a few out, then you know full well there's been such a sore need for something like Pixelmob in our industry, and I really think a lot of us real estate photographers can benefit from this service. It's completely free to sign up, and if you use my link pixelmob.com/IREP, you will receive $5 in credit towards your first order, so there's no reason to at least not give it a try. You'll also find that link down in the description of this video. Alright, so here on my desktop, I have a folder that I got back from my editor recently of a shoot I did. So the first thing I want to do is import this into Lightroom. So if I go over to Lightroom and just go to import, I'm just going to go to that folder on my desktop, and then I'm going to hit import. Alright, so now that all the images are imported, the first thing I want to do is select all of these, and I can do that by hitting Command or Control A. Or you can just select the first one and go all the way to the bottom and shift click on the last one and select all of them. So now I just want to create a new collection. I can do that by hitting Command or Control N, or if you go to Library, New Collection. All right, so now we just need to give it a name. I usually name it the address. So for this, I'll just call it 1 Main Street, and I'll hit Create. So now all of these pictures are in a collection. And why do we need them in the collection? Because we need to be able to move these around and reorder them. You won't be able to do that unless you have them in a collection. So that's why we need to have it in a collection. So the first thing we're going to talk about here is reordering your photos. And what I mean by that is putting them into some sort of logical order, like a flow, like you're sort of walking through the house, like you're touring the house. And for example, like if I have drone photos, I'll put those first. If I don't have drone photos, I'll just start with the front exterior photos to the entryway, and then transition into the interior of the house, like the foyer, and then off whatever's off the foyer, like main rooms, like dining room, kitchen, living room, etc. Then transitioning upstairs to the bedrooms. And then if there's a basement, I would have that at the end. And then transitioning from the basement back outside to the backyard. So it's just sort of a logical order, and that's kind of the gist of how I order the photos. And why is this important? Again, like I said, some of your competitors may not even be bothering with this. You know, they might just be getting the folder back in whatever order they were shot in, they just send them out to their clients. And your clients will appreciate these little small things that you do for them. That's what I'm trying to make here. That's the point I'm trying to make here, I should say, sorry. So let's take a quick look now at reordering the photos here. All right, so if I deselect this and just get off of that, so I'm not selecting all of these photos anymore, obviously it starts here. This is a foyer, so I want to kind of look for the front exterior shots, which I did at the end here. So I have this front porch shot and then all these front shots here. And then these are the backyard shots. So I just want to select these front shots here. So I'll just click on this one here and then shift click on to this last one. So now here are all the front shots, and I'm just going to drag these up to the top. So obviously we don't want to start with the porch here. So I want to get the porch and these two front entryway shots. I'm going to select just these three, and I'm going to drag them down past the front exterior shots. All right, so now we have, you know, front left, off to the left shot, you know, the three front angles here. And then we have the front porch and then the front entryway. Oops, here's one that we missed. It's got to go over here. And then transitioning from the front entryway right into the foyer. So, you know, door shot right to this door shot. So the order should make logical sense and should have flow here. That's the point I'm trying to make. And you're saving your client time so they don't have to do this themselves, and they will appreciate that. All right, so we have the foyer here. These are other foyer shots, perfect. And then it goes into a reverse shot looking down the hall here, and then off here into the dining room. And here's the staircase. I'm actually gonna bring the staircase over here. And then these two shots will be here. There's a powder room that's right off here, and we don't need to have that here. I'm actually gonna move that right before the upstairs photo. So I'm gonna drag this down to right before we go upstairs, which is here. Yeah, so we have this angling shot right into the dining room, and then it goes right into the dining room. So that's perfect, I think. The reordering, of course, is a little subjective. It's not set in stone on what order they should be in. Like, your client may have a differing opinion on that, so they might change it up a little bit, but that's fine. They can tweak it themselves, but at least they're getting it in a good order and in an order that makes sense, which then transitions into this other bathroom here and then this office. I actually want to move those. I'm gonna move these bathroom shots and this office shots to after these other main rooms because they're not quite as important as those. So I'm gonna pull these down to after the kitchen shots here. So I'm gonna move them to over here. So now we go from the dining room into this living room, den, family room, and then into the kitchen here. Into, this is a mudroom off the kitchen, which isn't the best looking thing because there's a bunch of stuff in there, but whatever. And then into this bathroom, into the office, into this powder room, then upstairs. And then we have the master bedroom. Perfect. We want the master bedroom first. It's the primary bedroom of the house, so that's the most important. Then it goes in, you know, the master bath, master closet, and then into, you know, secondary bedrooms and bathrooms, you know, kids' rooms. That's fine. And then into the basement shots here, and then into the backyard. All right, so great. These are all in order now. All right, so perfect. That only took us a couple minutes to do that and put them in a logical order. And like I said, it's a little thing, but your clients will appreciate these little things. These things go a long way. I feel like you're saving them time and aggravation. All right, so the next step I want to talk about, we'll call proofing the photos. And what I mean by that is going through the photos and seeing if there's anything that needs to be done beyond what the editors did already. Again, if you're someone that edits your photos yourself, you probably would have taken care of this during the editing process because you're the one doing the editing. But if you're outsourcing, you want to go through the photos and see if there's anything that needs to be removed or anything that needs to be tweaked, like maybe a slight exposure tweak. Sometimes I get them back, and especially like my exteriors, a lot of times the editors will send them back, they're a little too dark or something, so I might brighten them up a little bit, make small tweaks, remove certain objects that don't look good, that they didn't take care of. So there's a bunch of little things that need to be done. For me, the editing does not end when I get the folder back from the editor. Like, there's still more editing to be done, and this goes along with what I've been saying about going above and beyond. You know, a lot of your competitors probably aren't even bothering with these little small details, but to me, in the end, they make a difference. They make the pictures look that much better. It's attention to detail, et cetera, et cetera. It's going that extra mile. So this is all important stuff. All right, so let's go through these now and I'll show you what I mean by proofing. All right, so I'm just gonna enlarge this first photo here. And what we're just gonna do is go through these photos one by one and see if they need any tweaking or anything that needs to be done to them, like I was just explaining. I'm not gonna take you through every single photo and take up too much of your time here. I just wanna show you this process and show you what I'm looking for and what I do. So for the front exteriors, the editors edit the grass green here like you see, and then I have one that's unedited. It's the middle of the winter here in New Jersey, so the grass isn't looking too good, so you know, the green grass helps a little bit. Some people may not like this, or may, I don't know, it's a sort of controversial thing. Yeah, it looks a little fake, whatever, but you know, the agents like it and they appreciate it. So if there's any edits necessary, I'm gonna do it to the ones with the green grass. I always deliver the ones without the grass and unedited like version of it so they can see. I like to give them the option of just having it without the green grass in case they want it for some reason. All right, so let's start looking at these. So this first one, does anything need to be done? Right now, I'm already seeing this over here, like this ladder and these little orange poles. So I'm gonna hit Command or Control E to open this in Photoshop, and we want to edit a copy with Lightroom adjustments, yes. All right, so now it's open in Photoshop, and I'm just gonna quickly remove some of this stuff. So if you go here to the Remove tool, which is here under this Band-Aid thing, this is a newer AI tool and it's absolutely magical. If you haven't used it yet, it's fantastic. So I'm just gonna zoom in here and hit J. J will get you this, by the way, if you just hit J on the keyboard, and the bracket keys, left and right bracket keys, will resize this. So if I size this down, pretty skinny, whatever you're removing, you don't want it to be too much, you know, bigger than that. So if I just go quickly over these little orange poles, get rid of them, and then this ladder, you can actually outline things and it'll automatically fill in and get it out. So like, done. How long did that take? 2 seconds. This photo looks that much better now. And you know, we did this little thing to improve it, but it's an improvement and it looks cleaner now. I'm just gonna now hit Command S or Control S to save this. And now it's saved. So if I close this and go back to Lightroom, now it's here in my collection. And we have 2 versions. If you look over here, you can see now the ladder disappeared. So this one with the ladder and stuff in it, I'm just gonna hit the delete key and that will remove it from our collection, and so on and so forth. So obviously I'm gonna remove those, you know, little orange things. So that's the outside. I just wanna show, you know, I'm gonna remove all these, and then I just wanna take you to the interior. Just let's see some things in here that, you know, we might take care of. So, you know, one thing I look for is, are my verticals straight? Like, you know, they are in this, but like say, you know, you go to develop here, say your verticals were a little off, you know, sometimes the editors don't correct that. So again, like little tweaks like that, you know, you can go down here to transform and, you know, hit vertical, and, you know, that straightened that out a little bit. It was a little off. You know, these little things like that. Again, I'm looking for little objects maybe that need to be removed. Everything else looks good here. So, you know, I'm just looking to straighten verticals, remove objects that don't need to be there, that maybe I forgot to move while I was shooting, or maybe I didn't have time to deal with when I was shooting, you know, and the editors didn't do it. So, you know, that's what I'm looking out for here. Just making sure everything looks good. You want to go through all the photos, proof them, and make sure they look the way you want them to look. I mean, this is the product you're putting out, so you want to make sure you look at everything and make sure it's to your standards before you send it to your client. So if I keep going through here, all right, so like this is all good, except, you know, I can see back here, like if I go further in, like there's like this container on the windowsill, it's bright orange, first of all, like, you know, we don't want this in the shot, you know, some of that stuff. So, you know, again, quickly, I'll just hit Command or Control E, open this in Photoshop. Let me zoom in here. I'll hit J for the remove tool. Just go over this real quick. And that's gone. This we can take out of here. You know, all these things, like here, we can get rid of these. Clean it up a little bit. This tool is amazing. That's the best thing ever. So, all right, so those are all gone now. So like, you know, I'm not seeing this bright orange thing back here and like, what is that? So that's gone. So, you know, I could just save this again and close it. And if I go back to Lightroom, so we can see here, you know, now we have this, now they're gone. So we can delete this one. We don't need that anymore. Now we just have that one's clean. So here it is again. So again, I would remove that, and you know, you would just keep going through and and making sure everything looks right. This is a good example. Wires, you know, wires are a big thing that I always try to get rid of. So if I open this up in Photoshop and just zoom in here, like all these wires everywhere, it looks messy, it's sloppy, and we want our photos to be as refined and as beautiful and presentable as possible. So, you know, these little details are important. So again, you know, with the remove tool, you know, you can just come in here, and these things are easy to remove too, especially with this tool. Like, you know, just want it to be bigger than the wire, and you can just go over the wire. And like perfect, gone. Like no problem whatsoever there. You know, you can just keep going here. And if you're too busy to do this sort of thing, hire a virtual assistant or someone like that to help you with these things. I have one now that helps with this kind of stuff. So hire somebody. You know, it's worth the extra money to have somebody go through your photos and refine them like this and just make sure they look the best that they can possibly be. So, you know, I would just continue on just cleaning this up. You know, you get the idea of what I'm trying to explain to you here. You know, there's a bunch of mess under here. You know, some of this might be complicated, but you can definitely get a lot of this out. You know, if it's too much, then, you know, it's taking too long, it's gonna take you an hour to do it, then just don't do it. But like, do what you can to make the picture look as best as it possibly can be. That's the point I'm trying to make here. There's things you can do, and some things are too much, just leave them, but do what you can that's easy enough to improve the photo. I would just continue on going through every photo like I've just been showing you, removing little things that need to be removed, or straightening out any verticals that need to be straightened out, etc. So that's really what I consider the proofing process of this. I think it's an important step. It just takes the photos from being good to maybe being great. You know, it's just little details again, but it's appreciated. I think overall, once it's all done, it really makes a difference. It makes an impact. It makes your photos look that much more professional, that much more refined. So I think it's an important step. Again, if you can't do it yourself, you don't have the time, hire somebody else to do it. It's worth it in my opinion. This is going above and beyond, taking those extra steps, going that extra mile, all of which is very important in my view. So once your photos are all proofed and cleaned up and looking exactly how you want them to look, the next step I want to talk about is cropping. Specifically, I'm referring to the front exterior photos. Almost 100% of the time, you need to crop them. If you want to keep your verticals straight and shoot like a two-story house, like this is a big house, so you have to stand further back to be able to keep your camera level and shoot the house and keep your verticals straight. You know, otherwise you would have to stand up close to the house, tilt the camera to get a tight shot of the house, and then, you know, it would be all skewed and look distorted. So 100% of the time, almost 99% of the time, you have to crop. You know, you have to provide some crops. So I just want to go over that process here. If it was a ranch home, a one-level home, you could shoot that tight theoretically. A lot of times I can do that and then not have to crop, but most of the time you have to crop. So I just want to go over that really quick. So you can see here, like, yeah, I'm pretty far back, but which is good because you can see how big the front yard is and everything. And I'm only going to crop the ones with the green grass, not the ones without the green grass or the edited grass, because the clients usually only use these anyway. So now if I want to duplicate this, I want to send them still this version because it's still a nice shot. Like I said, it shows how big the property is, but I also want to provide them with a crop version. So I want to duplicate this, and you can do that by hitting Command apostrophe, or if you come up to photo and go to create virtual copy. So now you can see we have 2 copies of this. So on the second copy version, I want to go to develop here, and then I want to go to the crop tool, and I'm just going to crop in, and so we get a nice tightly composed shot of the house. So something like that. You know, we want to leave a little bit of room on the sides. Important thing is to like have the house in the center part of the grid here. You want the house basically centered right into the middle part of the grid. And then if I just hit enter, now you have this nice crop of the front of the house. So I would just do that on all my exteriors here. This is fairly tight as it is, but again, I'm still gonna provide a copy with a crop. So I just hit Command apostrophe, which created a Command or Control apostrophe will create a virtual copy. And then if I go to crop, I can just get a little tighter on this. So there's like less foreground, at least it feels a little bit more composed as far as a crop. You know, I couldn't get it right in the middle of the grid because I didn't have enough room to do that, but you know, it's good enough. You can just do the best you can. Obviously I didn't clean any of these up. Like I was saying, you know, I would obviously like get rid of these garbage cans and like, you know, these little posts and stuff. So I didn't do that, but I will again, for this third exterior, just again, create a crop for that. So that's cropping the fronts. Most of the time, all I do is really crop the fronts, but sometimes I will crop the backs as well. So if you go to the rear of the house, I think, yeah, I have this one that's like of the back of the house. I mean, this has a pool here. Say this pool wasn't here, it was just a yard, say it was just grass. I wouldn't crop it in this scenario. I would just leave this the way it is. But if this was just grass and nothing here, then I would, you know, just make a copy, and I would do a crop too of the back in that scenario. Not in this scenario, but in that scenario, you know, I would just crop in on the back, do a copy of that too. But we wouldn't want to crop with the pool here, so, but I just wanted to, you know, mention that I would crop that too. All right, so that's really it for cropping, quick, easy. Now let's talk about exporting these out of Lightroom. So now that the photos are all proofed and cleaned up and looking the way we want, they're in the order that we want them in, and we did our crops, so all that stuff is done. Now it's time to export these out of Lightroom, so I just want to show you how I do that. So now what we need to do is just select all these photos by hitting Command or Control A, so you can see now down here we have them all selected. And if we go to Export, File, Export. So the first thing we have is Export Location. I want to choose, so within this, so this is the folder on my desktop. I want to create a new folder inside this folder, and we'll just call this the address. Again, what do we call it? 1 Main Street. So I'll create a folder for that, and then I'll just hit choose. So now it's going into that folder inside the other folder. And I want to rename it. So I have them, you know, renamed as a double-digit number. So as you can see here, example 01, and then it'll be 02, 03, and so on and so forth. So why I think it's important to have a numbered order like this, 01, file name 01, 02, 03, etc., is because, for instance, I use the delivery platform SPIRO, which I've talked about in other videos. I'll link to it on the screen right now. I just made a video on that. But when I upload to SPIRO into the gallery, if I just have the file names the way they were natively, it jumbles the order all up. So I want to maintain the order that we just came up with in Lightroom. We just spent the time to get these in the right order, to have the right flow. So I want to make sure that order is maintained when I upload them to SPIRO and deliver them to my client. Otherwise, that was all for nothing. So having them in a numbered order is a good idea. Even if you're not using SPIRO, you're using something else, I would still just suggest doing it this way. It can't hurt. It's going to keep them in order. No matter what platform you're using to deliver your photos, just have them in numbered order like this. The 2-digit number is important too, because if you have it single digit, like just 1, 2, or 3, that sometimes gets lost as well. So I suggest a 2-digit order number here. So 01, 02, all the way up to 11, 12, you know, into the double digits or whatever. So this is what I suggest doing to maintain order no matter where you're uploading them to deliver to your clients. And how we do this is if you go here and you go to custom settings and you go to edit, you can see what I did. It's sequence number 01, and how you can change that is, you know, you go to here, like, you know, you can have file name. So if I inserted file name, you'll see here. So it would be like 01 with the file name. We don't want that. So I'm just going to delete file name, but you can custom do this in any way you want. So I just come down here to sequence number, and you'll see 1. That's what we don't want. Like I said, the double digits are important. For whatever reason, at least in SPIRO, it doesn't like that. So I found that out on other platforms too. Again, I recommend the double digit. So sequence number, double digit 01, and then you would just hit insert, and then that's it. Just delete anything else that's in here, and you just want that in there, and you just hit done, and then you'll see the example should look like this. Now, down here at file settings, I just limit the file size to 10,000, which is basically 10 megabytes. So in other words, what this is saying that no photo coming out of here after export will be above 10 megabytes. 10 megabytes is plenty big. We don't need to deliver anything bigger than that. In SPIRO, you know, you can pick the size you want to download, whether it's full resolution or MLS, you know, resolution. So they give you options in that platform, which is great. But if you use a platform like SPIRO, like I do, which, you know, it gives them the option, you know, say they wanted to do a print ad or something, it's nice to send them a high-res version. So I just keep it at, you know, 10 megabytes. That's plenty of resolution for whatever they want to do with it. So I recommend just 10,000K, and that's really it. So then you would just hit export, and you'll see up here that they're exporting the files. So now if I go to that folder on my desktop, you will see in here the folder 1 Main Street, and in here we have our files 01, 02 in order that we want them to be in. And that's really it as far as exporting my photos go. So the last step, of course, would be delivering the photos to your clients. I would suggest using a platform like SPIRO, a dedicated real estate media platform, because it has perks like marketing materials that they can use, property websites, etc. You know, it's just more professional, much more robust than just sending, say, a Dropbox link or a Google Drive link. Like, here's your photos in a folder. Like, at least it's like, you know, there's tools in here that they can utilize to market the property, etc. It's just a much more professional thing. I'm not gonna get too in depth with this. I made a video on SPIRO like I just linked to before, so take a look at that. But quickly, I'll just show you. I had already delivered this listing that we were just working on to my client. So if I come here in SPIRO, you'll see here I have listings, and then here's this one that I already, you know, delivered. If I go to the property website and then hit view, you know, this is what it looks like when I deliver to my clients. They'll get this property website here, you know, that they can use. They can put the property info in here, and, you know, it has the gallery, and, you know, they can see all their photos. You know, the property website has, you know, location nearby stuff like restaurants or whatever else on the property website here. And if I pop over to my email, I'll just show you what it looks like when they receive it. They receive an email, it looks like this, and, you know, they can go to view and download your media, and it will bring them to this download page. They can see all the pictures here after they pay, of course, and they can hit download here. And like I was saying, you know, there's all these different qualities, you know, so they can download full resolution print quality or web quality for MLS, etc. So, and then they get it downloaded, get all their images, and they could view their property websites here. And again, like I was saying, there's marketing content, so they can create flyers in here and to promote the property. You know, they can create postcards. They can create social media posts, you know, all this great stuff in here. SPIRO is a great system. I'll link to it down below in case you're interested in it. It's free to sign up. You only pay for what you use. So I just wanted to show you this quickly, how I deliver my photos and the value that this provides, as opposed to just sending like a Dropbox link or a Google Drive link. You can see this is providing them much more value. It looks much more professional, makes your company look good. They can order shoots on here, you know, schedule shoots on this system. You know, it's this robust system, like dedicated to real estate photographers. It goes along with everything I've been talking about in this video about providing value, going above and beyond, providing a service that is second to none. All right, guys, so that's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I really appreciate your support. Also, take a look down in the description below. I got links down there to Pixelmob, the sponsor of this video. If you're looking for an outsourced editor, like we've been talking about in this video a little bit, they're a great resource for that. They have a whole marketplace of editors with ratings, and you can see their work on there. So it's a great place to find an editor. Also down there, I have links to editing practice packs that I've created, sky replacement packs that I've created, a lot of great resources that I've done down there, Photoshop actions and, you know, Lightroom presets, that sort of thing. So a lot of great stuff down there. Please have a look at that. Thanks again so much for watching this video, and I'll see you again soon on the next one.